Hi, my name is Chris Melnick and I'm a realtor in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Homes are very complicated. They can have a lot of different systems and features. Some can be much more maintenance intensive than others. I found most people are just looking for a low maintenance home that's as risk-free and effort-free as possible. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the elements you should look for if you want a low maintenance home. You probably won't find a home with every one of these things. Everything is a compromise at the end of the day. But this is what I think would be the most risk-free and effort-free when you're deciding how much value to put on a home. This is also focusing on single-family homes, which include detached, semi-detached, and townhomes. Condos or bare land condos are probably the most effort-free compared to any of the other types mentioned because nearly everything is done for you. But with condos, you'll have the risk of footing the bill for special assessments. These can be in the tens of thousands of dollars and seemingly come out of the blue. Condos also have some other downsides. See my Fundamentals of Value video. Most people I work with are looking for detached, semi-detached, and townhomes for the added privacy and personal space, so that's what I'll focus on here. To begin, look for a home on Municipal Services. This means you're supplied with water from the city and have a sewer hookup too. You would pay monthly bills for this service, but you won't deal with potential complications with a well and septic system. Many people are on wells and septic systems with no issues for years, but the well can run dry in certain weather conditions or usage conditions. Septic systems must also be periodically pumped, and you need to be even more careful with what you put down the drains, like avoiding using bleach, fabric softeners, and drain cleaners. Older septic systems and/or fields can also fail after 30 or 50 years, and they may need to be replaced. The total replacement cost can be $30,000 to $50,000. Wells also need power to operate, so if you don't have a generator during a power outage, you also won't have water. The same goes for septic systems with pump-up stations, which is a unique type of septic system configuration. If it's not supplied with power, you can face sewage backups in the home. Next, buy a home on a public road, not a private road. Public roads are maintained and plowed by the city, whereas a private road is maintained and plowed through the cooperation of neighbors. Usually, everyone just chips in $400 to $500 a year. These private roads are often gravel, and I've seen quite a few that are poorly graded or poorly plowed, which can lead to bent rims or accidents. Some are very well looked after, though. Also, buy a home with a short, flat driveway. If it snows, people with long driveways typically have their own plows to their own driveway or pay for someone to come out and plow it for them. But then you have to wait and pay $50 or so. Some people with steep, long driveways aren't even able to get anyone to plow it because the truck driver doesn't want to get stuck. So they park at the beginning of the driveway and wait until the snow melts before they can use it again. If you have a short driveway, it's relatively easy to shovel it yourself. Buy a home with either an asphalt or concrete driveway. This is easier to plow and you won't need to periodically regrade it like with a gravel driveway. Next, buy a relatively level lot. This will be easier to take care of. You'll also have less of a chance of having water runoff issues. Next, I'll focus on materials and individual components of the home. In general, buy a home as new as possible. The components of the home will have the greatest lifespan left. At the very least, though, buy a home built in the 1980s and newer. You can see my video on that topic for more information. In short, they're built with materials and standards very similar to today's. A fully cosmetically renovated home built in the 1980s can be a very safe buy. The least problematic style of home is probably a slab-on-grade bungalow. This would have no basement, so there's nothing to possibly flood or have moisture issues in. There is no stairs to fall down or move furniture up, and a relatively low-to-the-ground roof, which is easier to work on. This is basically the opposite of the most energy efficient type of home, which is tall and skinny, but just keep that in mind. As for the home itself, on the outside, you want it to be all plastic and metal, no real wood. Wood rots over time and can require repainting. This means that you want to look for vinyl siding, vinyl or aluminum soffits, metal flashing over fascia boards, and vinyl windows, not wood. These features are fairly common. In an ideal world, you'd also want to have plastic composite deck boards and a metal railing, but plastic deck boards are not very common. You'd also want to have a metal roof. The lifespan is 50 years or so for those, and you would have no risk of shingles blowing off during heavy winds. I'd approximate maybe 1 in 30 homes has these. Most homes have shingles though. If you have a choice, homes with a lower slope around 4 to 12 are the better option compared to steep roofs. Steep roofs cost more to reshingle and make other jobs up there more difficult and expensive. Make sure the roof is some sort of overhang too. This helps keep the water off the siding and away from the house. This also goes without saying, but make sure the home has eaves troughs, properly sized downspouts, and methods to effectively direct the water away from the home. Strangely enough, some older homes just didn't have these or removed them. But water is a home's enemy, and you want it away from the home. The home itself should have copper wiring, ideally with PEX plumbing. Newer copper is okay too though. You can see my video on red flags of construction. The best heating system is probably a ducted heat pump with natural gas heating, but electric baseboards with mini split heat pumps are also a very good and much more common option. See my video on fuel types and heating sources for more information. Inside the home, if you're looking for durability, go for a good quality laminate or vinyl flooring. This will hold up better than engineered floors or hardwood, and won't hold stains like carpets. If there's tile in the home, just avoid marble, because it scratches easily and stains easily. Also avoid porous stones like travertine, because it's just more difficult to clean. Be wary around vinyl click flooring in the bathroom. They're advertised to be waterproof, and they are, but the joints are not necessarily waterproof. In some bathrooms, people are just okay with water splashing on the floor and leaving that splashing standing water there. And that can make it down to the subfloor. Now, if your subfloor is wood, that can lead to rot, which is bad. Normal ceramic tile or sheet vinyl flooring are good options. For countertops, the best option would be granite or quartz, which is an artificial stone. These are generally heat resistant and water resistant. Laminate counters are very decent too, and much cheaper and more common. The most low maintenance, low risk shower or bathroom enclosure is a pre-made acrylic or fiberglass enclosure. They have no grout lines to clean and are very easy to clean in general. Be very careful around tiled shower floors. If done properly, they have no issues, but they are very easy to install improperly, which can cause leaks down to the lower levels. This is especially true in homes that have been flipped and never tested. A fiberglass or plastic pan is the safer option. If you're buying a 1980s and newer home, it likely already has bathroom fans, which is very necessary to reduce moisture buildup. Another good option is heat recovery ventilation systems. Those were mandatory by code in the late 1990s and do a great job in circulating air and also help avoid moisture issues. If possible, avoid having a brick chimney or a chimney altogether. Brick chimneys can require repairs to the mortar over time, and chimneys in general require periodic cleaning. You may think I'm contradicting myself, as I mentioned before that natural gas furnaces were a good choice, but those very high efficiency furnaces don't use chimneys. They actually use PVC exhausts out the side of the home because they're so good at extracting heat and pollution from the exhaust. And those are the components of what I would consider a reasonably low risk, low maintenance home. As you might have picked up on, the majority of materials mentioned were the cheaper economy options. I suggested avoiding options like hardwood, wood-framed windows, cedar siding, fireplaces with brick chimneys, and marble. This isn't because those are bad, but just high maintenance with potentially more complications. I'd almost compare homes to cars. This video was describing homes like trusty Toyotas, whereas homes with more premium features like hardwood, marble, etc. would be like a higher-end Mercedes. Yes, they are more expensive, they require more maintenance, and are more likely to break, but some people just prefer that value proposition. For the type of lot and neighborhood, most of my recommendations are hinting towards a typical subdivision, which excludes many waterfront homes and homes with more stately lots, both of which are considered more high-end. But that's again the trade-off that has to be made. Like always, I hope you got some value from this video. My contact information is in the description. Goodbye.